Esto es una cooperativa de recicladores.
This is a cooperative of recyclers. We currently have more or less 25 to 30 active recyclers.
Acá lo que se hace es una recolección en algunos puntos ya determinados por ellos.
Here what is done is a collection at some points already determined by them depending on their frequency of work. There are some recyclers who collect material twice a week. There are others who collect it every day. They did not come to finish the work here. The work is done abroad and we reach out to them.
Pues reciclando llevo más o menos una cantidad de 15 años.
I've been recycling for about 15 years. We have been recycling with Mrs. Hilda Gill.
Hemos estado reciclando varios puntos, varias unidades.
We recycle at several points, several units. We've had to recycle on the street and we still do. We survive thanks to recycling.
Y hemos estado sobreviviendo gracias al reciclaje.
Ahora hay una revolución muy grande y tiende como a veces a regresar.
Now there is a very big revolution and sometimes it tends to return because thousands of campaigns have been carried out on television, through the mass media and in person. Among the recyclers themselves, we began to go from door to door to recycle from their homes and to tell people what was being separated, and the people were very judicious. But as the municipalities grow, to the same extent the process slows down a bit.
Son alrededor de 25 a 30 los que están activos.
There are around 25 to 30 recyclers who are active.
Nosotros en este momento tenemos un vehículo. Ese vehículo.
We always go to them. At the moment we have a vehicle that has established routes. These routes were established by the frequency of the recyclers since they tell you at what point in the week and at what hours, more or less, on average it should be picked up.
¿A qué horas más o menos en promedio se le debe recoger? Hay algunos que la frecuencia es en la mañana, otros es en la tarde.
There are some frequencies in the morning and others are in the afternoon. There are some frequencies in the morning and others are in the afternoon. In this way we locate the routes.
De los residuos ordinarios están ellos en esos puntos también seleccionando su reciclaje.
They almost always coincide with the days of collection of ordinary waste. They are in those points in the same way selecting their recycling. They pick them up.
Se les pesa allá.
They are weighed in the truck. A scale is always kept there. They are weighed and given a handmade invoice, and then they arrive here, and they are corrected on the scale in the warehouse.
Cuando llega acá a la bodega, se hace una verificación.
When it arrives here at the warehouse, these weighings are verified in order to determine if something was suddenly picked up that should not have been.
Se le recogió algo que no debía de ser. Por ejemplo, pasa mucho con el archivo y pasa mucho con la prensa.
For example, a lot happens with the archive and with the press, which is sometimes mixed, and the idea is that they already know how to handle it, and they must make the correct separation.
Algunos perezosos que no saben reciclar botan las cajas de huevos porque es muy barata.
Some lazy people don't know how to recycle. They throw away the egg boxes because they are cheap, or the plastic, bag, film we call it in our slang, because it is very cheap, and due to the volume, the thin cardboard that does not have corrugation like toilet paper tubes is very cheap at 30 pesos, but they buy a kilo from them. There's a lot of volume, and all that adds up in the garbage bin, or adds up in the pocket also.
Ellos no hacían eso antes, simplemente cogían lo pulpito, el vidrio, la chatarra.
They did not do that before. They simply collected the most relevant items such as glass, scrap, the file that is in the paper for notebooks, magazines, newspapers, directories. What they were paid the best, even today, a recycler usually in general, they recover everything that is recyclable. Apart from that, they collect old or useless things. If he is a good recycler, he separates the material and looks for someone to give it a useful life and sells it at a cheaper price to low-income people who benefit from it, because a lot results from that recycling. Clothes, shoes, toys, kitchen utensils, pots and ornaments. A good recycler also separates all that, and many times they earn more than in the same recycling.
Estamos haciendo en este momento, la gente se acomodara mejor.
We would like this trade that we carry out here at the moment for people to be more accommodating so that we do not have to separate everything like this.
Que no están organizadas. El reciclaje es una labor.
There are many organised units as well as others that are not organised. Recycling is an excellent job. We have been living off it for 15 years, and what we call trash, and it's elegant trash.
La primera vez que me fui a reciclar me senté al lado de un compañero.
The first time I went to recycle, I sat next to a colleague whom we called Trompija, and I began to look at how he recycled. He taught me and explained to me. The next day he told me if he wanted to get up early. That day I arrived to the house with 800 pesos.
Con 800 pesos o 1.800 pesos, no me acuerdo bien, que era buena plata para comer.
Or 1,800 pesos, I don't remember well. It was good money to eat, and with a bundle of checheres that were dolls, carts, everything. He explained to me what is for sale and what is not. From there to here, I start, and then I went by with my sack, and everyone hid because a madman was coming.
La parte social es interesantísima. Con esto estamos ayudando a generar.
The social part is interesting. With this, we are helping to create employment for people who are vulnerable and who for some reason do not have access to permanent jobs. In addition, they live in love with their work. The truth is that they are recyclers by trade.
Esa es la otra cuestión, que de eso es que nos sentimos orgullosos.
That is the other point. It is our pride, because there are people who admire us. There are people who look at us with a bad eye, not us.
Pero nosotros no, porque esta es una cosa que es un beneficio.
Since this is a benefit for the whole world, and for us, it is more. With this we eat. It is our maintenance. It is sincerely our livelihood.
Con esto, este es el sustento de nosotros, sinceramente.
Además de que es su única forma de subsistir, son los únicos que le ayudan un poquitico al planeta.
In addition to the fact that it is the only way to survive, they are the only ones that help the planet a little. They are the only ones that really, I don't know if it is out of necessity or that they are aware that this is money. This helps you, that this contributes in some way to the world.
Y es muy triste que la gente los asocie más como el gamín.
And it is very sad that people associate them more as the homeless, the street inhabitant, or the one who is going to rob us, when they're doing a job that before we had to help them to fill it fully.
Nosotros en las casas deberíamos de tener la conciencia de que ellos.
We at home should be aware that they are the ones who are helping our children to have a future that is perhaps more different from the one that is approaching now.
Al que se está avecinando, pues como ahora.
Yo le pagué a mí. Me mandó un fresquito la mamá. Muchas gracias, muy amable.
Muchos se quejan, pero vamos, corregimos hasta que a veces.
Many complain. Let's go and correct them until they make it go from there, because the community can't stand seeing recyclers. There are people who still don't want to see recycling next to their house, and that's just for a short while. The collection points are only for a moment, while they are doing it. When they have it ready and separated, each sack tied more orderly. They have separated each material. This is Alejandra, they call her. Sometimes she finishes lighter or sends the truck she has for them.
Nos lograron acomodar a estas carpas. Puntos verdes llaman las carpas.
They managed to accommodate us in these tents. They are called the green point. It is a benefit for us, but above all for the unit.
Así como las tengo yo, sin esta carpa, esto se vería muy feo.
In the sense that just as I have the bin without this tent, this would look very bad. It has changed a bit compared to previous years. People are getting to know the system. You have to separate to help the planet and help you with your livelihood.
Se ha mejorado un poco, sí.
Se ha mejorado.
Sí.
Bueno, usted sabe que usted tiene...
It has improved. You also have to help with that work because it is for you and for others. Try to sensitize the people who bring you the garbage. To each person that you tell them that they will be a multiplier in other places, we're going to help people learn.
Entre todos los recicladores, yo soy uno que me catalogo bueno.
Among all the recyclers, I am one that is classified as good. But in what sense? When Mrs. Hilda Gill taught me to recycle, there are many recyclers who do not collect plastic, which is a material that takes years to disintegrate.
Para desintegrarse. Entonces eso es lo que llena un guacal. Entonces, definitivamente, no solo yo.
Now not only do I, but we all really learn to recycle as it should be recycled.
Reciclar como se debe reciclar. Para mí este trabajo, no estoy desmeritando ningún trabajo. No.
For me, this job, without detracting from any other, can be better, but it's what you choose.
Igual es a ustedes. Yo con ese trabajo valgo lo que valen ustedes.
With this job, I am worthy as a person, and I see to the economic needs of my family. People are worthy as well as their work. I am worthy, and we all are worthy. The doctor who lives in this residential unit is valuable, and I am also valuable, so my call is to have respect for each other.
Desafortunadamente, ahora ya lo estamos viviendo de una manera más drástica. ¿Sí?
Unfortunately, with the current circumstances, we see the importance of recycling more relevantly. When I was young, they never talked to me about recycling or its importance.
Pero ahora, cuando ya estamos como en el caos, es cuando nos estamos dando cuenta que...
Now when we are already in chaos, it is when we are realizing that a lot of things that we are throwing out on the street, they are charging us.
Creo que es importante porque el planeta en este momento nos necesita.
I think it is important for the planet that we start taking care of water sources, trees, and the environment in general, because the planet needs us and we need it. This is not a matter of being rational. It must be done for everyone and on behalf of everyone.
La parte ambiental es el granito de arena que cada uno va a poner.
The environmental part is the grain of sand that each one is going to put. I think that the one who contributes the most is a recycler because they are preventing all the material they collect from reaching the sanitary landfill. A lot of waste is becoming a health problem, truthfully, and a universal problem. Everything that is being recycled, generally, becomes raw material for other things, so material nature is avoided on the one hand, and on the other, there are things that are not sent to landfills, preventing these spaces from filling up more and more with garbage.
Con el reciclaje, nosotros quisiéramos que esto, en este momento,
We would like everyone to be aware of the importance of recycling, that our work is not necessary. However, we always have to do it.
porque si nosotros no hacemos esto, estas son cosas que se dirían.
If we do not carry out this operation, this type of thing would go to the trash. It would be lost, and it is a benefit for ourselves to be able to reuse everything. When I search inside the garbage, I find livelihood for myself and my family. It is a pity that people mix everything up and mix all the materials.
Ese programa se estaba fregando hacer en cada unidad de...
Now we are working on a project that is implemented in many homes and aims to civilize people so that they avoid mixing all the materials. That makes our work much easier, and handling what people call waste is much easier.
Para la gente es más cómodo sacar todo junto.
It is easier for people to remove everything together, so I assume that the recycling that is arriving at the landfill is a lot. It is very good that the people who watch this program raise awareness that there are recyclers who live from all the materials they remove, and that it is better to deliver all the materials into the hands of the recyclers and not just leave them abandoned on the street. People say, why do I separate? If I put the recycling in a white bag and I put the garbage in a black one, I'm eager, so I'll leave it on the street so the truck can pass and pick it up. Of course, the official of the garbage truck has an order, and that is that everything he sees on the road must be picked up and taken to the sanitary landfill. These people do not start to check what is in the bags. That is not their job. Their job is to collect garbage, so people don't know that everything they take out will end up in the city's landfills. Although there are coloured bags, there are some green, red, white and black ones. However, these are better handled at fixed points, hospitals, companies or shopping centres. Even at home they could be handled better if people were aware of the uses of the coloured bags and what each one is for. Although if people were really aware of how to recycle and why it is important, it would not be necessary to have coloured bags. There are some cases in which garbage bags come with contaminated syringes, which are used by hospitals and sick people. In 15 years of work, I have been very careful because in all this time I cannot say that I've cut or injured myself with something that I found in the garbage.
Eso es lo que yo quisiera, que la gente comprendiera.
I have been very cautious when working with this, and I would like people to understand the work that I have to do, because if that were the case, people would be more educated and would know how to recycle. Therefore, it is important that the recycling bag only contains material to recycle.
La pregunta del millón. ¿Qué no se recicla? Es tan poquito.
$1 million question, what is not recycled? Very little is not recycled. For example, cooked food is not recycled. Although it may seem strange, even cooking oil that is already burned should be recycled. Batteries, for example, are considered hazardous waste, and people normally throw them away in the trash. On the contrary, this material must be disposed of separately. For example, there are some special places where it can be collected for its correct handling. What is organic is not recycled either, that is, the raw vegetable and fruit peels. This material is useful for many people who work making compost. Therefore, it is important to find out who needs it.
El mismo municipio se va a encargar de hacerle como un dispositivo a los carros de basura también.
The same municipality is in charge of collecting all waste, so it is important that we are aware of what can be recycled and what cannot. Toilet paper, disposable diapers, and sanitary towels are not recycled either. Here this material is not recycled. However, there are other nations that do have policies to manage these materials.
Si no existieran recicladores,
If the work of recyclers did not exist, surely the sanitary landfills around the world would be full. That is, the garbage would already be flooding us. As a recycler, I have started to see where all this related to recycling management and the material that can be used is going to end.
Del reciclaje para que podamos tener.
I think that these campaigns that are being carried out to make people aware of the importance of recycling are very good. Taking advantage of and reusing materials will make us enjoy life more, because we are currently doing a lot of damage to the ozone layer, which is very important for the planet. Therefore, it is very important that all people collaborate in this process, that they separate from the origin, and thus we are encouraging recycling.
un caso personal, 3 bolsitas de este tamaño de basura.
For example, before in my house I was responsible for taking out about 3 bags of garbage of considerable size. However, when I started to recycle properly and to create awareness of it, I separate all the waste and make the differentiation between composting and recycling. I know that the garbage is mine. For this reason, I do the separation from my house, and I no longer take it out several times a week, but only once in a small size. Just a bag of toilet paper and meat or food.
Esa para mí, para mi señora, es una gran labor.
This for me and my wife, it is a great job. Also, this taught me to be very humble.
Es un trabajo que, como te contaba ahora, mucha gente.
This is a job that, as I was telling you, many people do not see it so well.
Aquí, esta unidad nos cogió cariño.
But there are others who realize our work and they welcome us with affection. For example, in these houses where they have received us very well and have understood what we do.
Muchas personas nos quejamos y nos...
We do not value anything. Many people complain, or rather, we always complain and reproach. It is necessary to look at what we are doing for the world, and that is when recycling begins to take on relevant value. There are many people who have things of value, but finally, at some point, it ends up in the trash and can become recycling.
El reciclaje es un material que usted no necesita sino ánimos.
In recycling processes, you can separate the waste so that someone else can take advantage of it. In this, you only need encouragement to work. And what is the tool you need to work?
Una tula donde empacar.
Some sacks and a bag are needed to pack. It is necessary that the people who do this task have the courage to get ahead.
El reciclaje, muéstrele ánimos y salga, arranque.
They cannot tell me that there is a recycler who got up to do their job and was not able to bring a pound of rice home, because saying that is lying.
Porque en el reciclaje usted, eso sí tiene el reciclaje que nunca se va blanqueado.
This recycling process is good for the planet, and it never leaves one helpless to go home without money. Whether it is a lot or a little, with recycling, I have raised my family for 15 years.
Sosteniendo los precios. Y se paga arriendo. Y no son poquitos.
During that time, I have spent rent, and it's not a little, and that we are not a few, we are 11 people, and with that we support ourselves and get ahead.
Dice de que hay mucha gente que nos necesita.
I call on people to be aware that this recycling work is relevant and that we need to do this. What we do is help people around the world because they need us, the planet needs us, the world needs us.
Esa parte solidaria debería de poderse dar a partir de ahí.
I think it is necessary to be more supportive of all people, to know how to open the door so that the person who comes looking for recycling can find a good place at home to carry out their work. Keep in mind that we do a great job and that you help us from the beginning if you carry out the work of separating some things and not contaminating others.
Le apuntamos a un mayor ahorro energético
We aim for greater energy savings and less pollution in the world.
que estamos causando, a que este desastre no sea tan grande.
The purpose is to reduce the environmental damage that we are causing and that this disaster is not so big, because the consequences are already materializing, and with the little that we do, it is not stopping. A grain of sand is what a recycler puts in, and the work of this humble person is necessary for humanity and for the entire world.